Today on Monkey Life, elderly stumpy Gerald is rushed to the operating theatre.
Almost certainly that something's gone wrong with his heart.
It's an anxious time for Mike when Mikado moves in with foster mum Alex.
Obviously you have to wait for the animals to see what they're going to do.
And the woolly monkeys are having a ball. This is Monkey World in Dorset. It's home to more than 240 monkeys and apes and is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. Dr. Alison Cronin and her team dedicate their lives to rescuing and rehabilitating primates from all over the world.
We've really done everything we can to make her journey as smooth as possible.
Some of the residents have been at the park since it opened in 1987 and are quite elderly now. Others were at retirement age when they arrived. The care staff try to make their remaining years as comfortable as possible, and this involves regular health checks. Recently, the veterinary team have become extremely concerned about geriatric stump-tailed macaque, Gerald. His condition has deteriorated, and they've decided they need to investigate urgently.
What he's presented with quite suddenly is fluid on his skin. It's all hanging down like this and all around his groin. He's suddenly shown weight loss. I think these signs are not good because they are going to tell me almost certainly that something's gone wrong with his heart or there's something more sinister going on.
Vet Mike has anaesthetised Gerald so he can carry out a full examination.
We do a lateral first, Penny.
Animal director Jeremy Keeling is on hand to help.
Yeah. One goes like that. Put him on that.
Putting any of the primates under anaesthetic is risky, but particularly elderly ones. So Mike doesn't hang around.
That's in.
Once he's sure Gerald's asleep, he checks his stomach.
The most obvious feature that you see is this swelling here. It's on both sides. It's very hard and slightly fluidy above, but it's actually very, very solid, this tissue. It could be a cancer affecting that area.
An X-ray will help Mike determine exactly what's wrong. Gerald arrived at Monkey World in 2000. He was rehomed along with 18 other stumpies from a British laboratory where he'd been used to test asthma drugs. Over the years, many of these macaques have had respiratory problems. The X-ray results should throw some light on Gerald's situation, but Mike knows the odds are against the old stumpy. As the primates grow older, they're given supplements by the staff to make sure they get all the nutrients they need. Some of the smaller monkeys often lack an essential vitamin which is taken for granted.
It's vitamin D3 day for the common marmosettes today. We give vitamin D3 to our squirrel monkeys and marmosettes weekly, and the vitamin D3 is basically a supplement to substitute a vitamin they get naturally from sunlight in the wild. Lack of D3 can cause many problems, main one being to do with bone diseases and rickets.
Like all the primates at the park, marmosettes are not native to the UK. They come from Brazil and would normally be exposed to more sunlight in the tropics. But the life some of them have led certainly hasn't helped.
A lot of our marmosettes either come from the pet trade or from laboratories. Many of them were kept inside, never got access outside to the sunlight, or their owners didn't give them the vitamin D3 they were supposed to give them. And we have a number of animals here that suffer greatly. You've got Betty Boo, the common marmoset, who I'm going to give D3 to today. Most of her bones are very brittle, and nowadays she's all hunched up, she shuffles around, her tail's all bent and wonky.
It's vital for the old marmoset to take her D3, but getting it into her requires some cunning.
Betty's a little old lady. We like to make sure that she's eating healthily and plenty, so we'll give her hers in a nice big grub today.
Live grubs are used as part of the marmoset's diet. Toby is hoping she won't even notice the D3. Betty has lost most of her teeth and isn't quite sure how to tackle the large grub.
It's bigger than the sort of mealworms and waxworms and things she'd normally have, and obviously last time Betty had them, her eyesight was slightly better and she was slightly more mobile, so I think we're going to have to try a smaller insect like a waxworm or a locust for Betty today. So we'll give this to one of the other younger ones with teeth, and Betty can have hers in something smaller.
It's good news for Kayla, who gets Betty's grub, and Nathan, who also benefits. And Betty Boo doesn't miss out on her D3 because Toby gives her a waxworm that's a little more her size. The team at Monkey World are constantly looking for ways of enhancing the lives of the older primates, and that sometimes means bringing in the builders. Today, work is going on in the woolly monkey enclosure, which will hopefully help oldest resident Susie.
Susie's a very, very old woolly monkey. She's 38, which is significantly past her life expectancy. She's the oldest woolly monkey on record in the world, so she's a little bit more delicate than everybody else, and she suffers from arthritis, so she's a little bit achy, and sometimes sitting in the warm alleviates some of the achiness. So she is a big one for sunbathing. So we thought if we build a nice big platform outside of the door that she likes to use into the enclosure, she'll have a nice big space that she can relax on, and hopefully she'll feel nice and comfortable.
But it's not just Susie getting all the attention. The staff are taking the opportunity to improve the enclosure for the whole group.
We've re-roped the enclosure. The ropes are attached to branches in the trees, so when the branches break in high winds in the winter, some of them fall down, so we've had to repair them. And we thought, while we were doing that, why not put some more in to sort of make it a bit more new and exciting for them.
While the work is going on outside, the woolies haven't got access to their enclosure, and Holly is keen to keep the group happy and entertained. So today, she's trying something new.
Well, in this box, we've got a whole bunch of different really exciting things that we're hoping the woolies are going to like. We've got footballs, which we know they enjoy anyway, and a whole bunch of little plastic balls that they normally use in children's play pits. Woolly monkeys can be a bit neophobic, so they're frightened of new things, which in the wild keeps them safe, but in captivity sometimes makes it difficult to keep them amused. So what we've done is we've hidden a few snacks in the bottom of the box in the hope that that will tempt them in, and then they'll realise that it's quite good fun.
But it won't all be fun and games for leader of the group, Levar. As alpha male, Holly's expecting him to mark his territory.
I'm really hoping Levar's going to enjoy this. He's particularly keen on footballs, not to play with, but he likes to scent mark them. Part of the dominant male's job is to claim his territory with scent, and they do that by spitting on things and then rubbing it on the scent glands on their chest. So we're hoping we might see him doing that with some of these.
Female Kuna is first in, but she leaves the boys to investigate the balls. Levar goes straight over to check out the box. And just as Holly hoped, he immediately starts scent marking.
Good lad, Levar, that's just what we wanted.
Like father, like son, Diego tries to copy his dad's example. Now the girls see the box is safe. Females Paquita and Kuna are happy to come and look for themselves. While Diego's trying to eat his ball, Levar is still scent marking.
So often we'll find Levar rubbing footballs on his chest and dribbling all over them, which looks a little strange, but it's very important for his role in the group.
Second in command Bronco, however, is left with just a box to mark. Boys will be boys, and before long, Diego and Julio decide they need a bit more action. But it's all a bit much for poor old Susie, who wants a quiet life. At the hospital, the team are anxiously poring over Gerald's X-ray results. Recently, he's been losing weight and developed swellings on his body. The park's vet, Mike, fears the elderly Stumpy could have a very serious heart problem or cancer.
You've got a very weak heart shadow. You can't see it clearly at all, which says there's fluid in the chest. I haven't got a properly inflated front part of his lung. I can't rule out whether it's a heart problem or whether I actually have got an active tumour here which is causing the other problems. It can be both.
Mike decides he needs more X-rays to give different views of Gerald's heart and lungs. They all go out of the room while the X-ray's taken. But then suddenly, Gerald's condition worsens.
Double check that. Pull the plate out, Jeremy. You double check that again. He's gone quite light. Still in place.
Still in place.
This is not good.
He's not breathing now.
The team do everything they can to save him.
His heart's still going.
Yeah.
But Gerald isn't responding.
I think there's enough on that to say to put him to sleep, unfortunately.
Mike has no option but to put Gerald out of his pain.
We're dealing with an animal here who we want to give a quality of life to where we can, and when we can't, let him go. Don't let him suffer.
It's sad whenever there's a death at the park, but Gerald lived a long life, and thanks to Monkey World, his last years were happy.
When you're aware that an animal is has all these issues, then it's sort of, you live day by day and, see how they go. And then all of a sudden you realise, goodness me, he's been here for 10 years. That's pretty good. And if we can just give these guys a nice time and, make them happy, and that's something I say to the staff quite often, just make them happy. Whatever, make them happy. And then, every day's a bonus, isn't it?
Mikado, a baby gibbon, is just beginning his life at the park. Since his arrival, he's been looked after by Mike, but the time has finally come for him to move into the gibbon house for good.
It's not all fun and games.
The team have designed and fitted out a playroom for Mikado in his new home, and he's been visiting it every day in preparation for his big move. Mikado has become very attached to Mike, but it was always the intention for him to live with the other gibbons as soon as possible.
He's getting a big boy now. He desperately needs to be in that big bedroom so that he can play around and develop, and to take him backwards and forwards. It's not really good for him now. We feel that he is really up to the point where he should be down there permanently, live the life of a gibbon, have plenty of room to climb around, forget humans and become a proper gibbon. So the time has come now for him to meet Alex.
The team are hoping Alex will make a good foster mum for Mikado. She was brought to Monkey World in 2000 from a rescue centre in Taiwan, where she'd been saved from the illegal pet trade. It's not the first time she'll have fostered a baby. She looked after Peng Yo when he was little and made a great job of it. So the staff are hopeful she'll be as successful this time around.
Hey, Mikado. Hello. Are you asleep? You're having a little kip. This is your big day. You're going into your big bedroom. Come on, wake up. What? Hey? What are you doing down there? I know it's nice and cosy down there, isn't it? It's all right. There's a good boy. Right, little one. Look, here's your new bedroom. Look at this. Wow. Come on.
As Mikado settles into his new playroom, Alex watches curiously. She knows something big is about to happen. This is an important day for the park, and Alison has come along to watch.
Mike and the Gibbon team have just done a sterling job bringing up this little boy. I mean, I've done one babysitting evening, but I think that was it, and I left them to get on with it. And they've reared a lovely little lad, and it's graduation day.
The team are on tenterhooks as Leanne opens the slide to let Alex into Mikado's room. They don't know how either of the gibbons will react to each other. Mardo seems nervous and stays in the safety of his basket. Alex approaches Mardo to see what all the fuss is about. But once she's had a look at him, she backs off and returns to her own room.
Obviously, you have to wait for the animals to see what they're going to do.
Sensing there's no danger, Mardo ventures out.
For first introduction, absolutely brilliant. Alex is making herself available, but not going at him, which makes him at ease and actually curious. Why aren't you coming at me? You turned your back and walked away. Ooh, I must follow you.
While Alex has a snack next door, Mardo makes himself at home. It's a proud moment for Mike.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to do. You know, all these hand rearings are just amazing. You know, it takes a chunk out of your life, but, you know, to see this, it's just, I don't know, it's a difficult thing to sort of express.
Mardo's confidence is growing with every leap, and when Alex returns, he goes over to say hello. This time, it's Alex who seems a bit unsure.
He's just taken everything in his stride. It's just fantastic. Good girl.
It's early days, but the first signs are promising.
It's perfect because she's not focusing on him. It instantly makes him feel at ease to go towards her. So all things being equal and well, I'd like to leave him staying here tonight. And you're a gibbon again, little man. Good boy.
Golden-cheeked gibbons come from Southeast Asia. In Vietnam, Monkey World has a sister sanctuary which rescues gibbons like Mardo with the hope of eventually releasing them back into the wild. Alison is currently preparing for a trip to Vietnam when it's hoped two of the gibbons, Mary and Lily, will be set free. Once released, they'll be tracked and monitored electronically by using special collars. But Alison needs to test the tracking system before she goes, and so has enlisted the help of a faithful friend.
Are we gonna go? Yay! Come here, Bella!
One of the lesser-known members of Alison's team is her Great Dane, Bella.
Come on.
Bella is always keen to go for a walk through the woodlands that surround the park, but today, Alison's got an ulterior motive.
Bella's going to help us out today by testing a GPS collar for Vietnam. And, you know, this isn't exactly the Vietnamese rainforest, and she's not exactly a gibbon. But what we're doing is testing this out just to see how it transmits up to a satellite and then back down to a computer or even a cell phone to give readings on where the collar moves to and from. So basically, this is a prototype for our gibbons in Vietnam.
Marina Kenyon is in charge of the centre in Vietnam. She's flown over for a visit to help test out the tracking system. A GPS signal will be sent from Bella's collar via a satellite to a computer in the park lodge.
At the moment, the collar is set up so every 20 minutes, it will talk to the satellites and collect coordinates for that location. So we can look at the data and actually see if it managed to get coordinates every 20 minutes. And if it missed any, why did it miss some? Was it because it was too thick a forest, or maybe it was, at that point, it was in a building. The woods here are actually a similar height to the forest in Vietnam because it's not very high, but they're not as dense. But Bella's on the floor and the gibbons will be high up. So my theory is if it works here, when Bella runs through the forest, it's actually going to work in Vietnam.
If Mary and Lily's release is a success, it could pave the way for some of Monkey World's gibbons to be released back into the wild in Vietnam at some point in the future.
I'm all right? Yeah, okay, let's go.
Alison and Bella charge through the woods, while Marina checks the incoming data.
Let's go this way, come on.
Each day in the forest, we'll have our ground team going out to the coordinates and finding Mary and Lily and checking they're okay, studying their behaviour, seeing if they're interacting with other wildlife well. This just helps the ground team get to them closer, and also it saves that extra data when the ground team aren't there.
After a couple of hours in the forest, it looks like Bella's hard work has paid off.
We've managed to get readings just about at every point. So far, the collar hasn't let us down, but we haven't finished testing it yet.
The collar is 270 grams. The key is getting the collar small enough.
This is a problem. It'll be a while before a lighter GPS collar is available, and Alison and Marina are due to fly out to Vietnam within weeks, so they need to find an alternative. With this in mind, Alison heads to a company in Dorset who are specialists in radio tagging for wild animals to see if there's another option.
So these are radio collars different from GPS collars.
They are. The GPS collars are lovely because they give you the exact position. The real problem is the bulk of the GPS collar. If you want them to last any time, then they're really quite large on the animals.
So roughly these were about how much weight? How many
About
grams?
45 grams. So you go off with your antenna that looks like a television aerial.
Yeah.
You get a direction, you move to another place, get a direction. Then potentially you can walk in on them if you're happy enough to disturb them.
Yeah.
If you don't want to disturb them, then you can just triangulate, find out where they are and leave them alone.
Okay, fantastic.
So it looks like radio collars are the answer for now. They'll allow the team to track the gibbons when they're released and ensure they're okay.
We need to know that everything we've done up until the point that we wave goodbye, we've done correctly. And these radio collars are critical to being able to locate them, follow them, and get that information to know that the gibbons are good.
Next time on Monkey Life, Alison heads to Vietnam with the radio collars. But after years in captivity, will they be able to persuade the gibbons to go it alone?
Trepidation, nerves, emotion, oof, it's all there.